What's up, guys? I'm back. More Last Epoch. Haven't been playing it. Haven't been playing it. Last night I played some more. I played on my Lich, but my class fantasy is is the paladin, but the Void Knight kind of has to take the place of that. And I think the Sentinel is probably the most fun class in the game. I played my Void Knight way earlier in my basically time playing this game, I guess. It's like I'm much wiser and know how to do things. Like I have much more information. The Void Knight's going to be a two-handed build. A lot of the abilities require a two-handed weapon. So, I don't have a shield. Alright. I'm level 22, so I'll be able to fly through the game at this point. So, last night I talked about the One Piece manga. I talked about... Wait, was it last night? I don't know, but, recently I talked about the One Piece manga. And how it's probably the greatest manga ever. Like better, now that I've read it, better than JoJo, better than everything else.
Very well.
Let me check my stash to make sure there isn't anything I could upgrade to. I worked out a little bit, but I'm not gonna talk about that yet. Um, Looking for upgrades. I don't really see any. Yeah, not any real Sentinel upgrades. I have to get them myself. And it's still bugging out. Must just be like a Sentinel problem where the helm's still popping off my head. But, here's what we're going to talk about. Recap. Talk about the manga, One Piece being the best manga, the greatest. Just because of the emotional points, which have a lot of... every saga has emotional points. It's just how it is. It's just how it works. And, I talked about that. I might talk about it again, but right now I'm talking about something new. There's a lot of people that... Wait, what else did I talk about? I talked about the ARPGs and how I thought that, PoE 2 is going to definitely be the hope.
Yes.
To just have the complete circle, to kind of replace Diablo 2. Everything else just was fun or had quality but wasn't everything. But, I'm going to talk about streaming in the community. It's kind of like an office community, a workplace community. In the sense that it's not that people who aren't working or involved in the work process really, their opinion's not really valued, they don't really matter, they don't have any validity, and they themselves might not want responsibility or the attachment or whatever. you know, I'm just saying all that to say that people who are like, you know, any aspects, you know, promotion, whatever, people that make artwork or stream, you know, they definitely have turned it into more of a insider. You know, if you're not on the inside working on that type of stuff, you don't really have an opinion, or doesn't really matter. I'm saying. And to me, that's cool because it kind of shows you the natural direction of these type of places. But, you know, I don't want anything to do with that because I know that the inside of an art studio shouldn't be filled with, you know, potential superiority, or people's opinions don't matter. You know, you shouldn't close yourself off to the outside world if you're trying to be like more artistic, or playing games, or, you know, talking to people, you know, trying to be genuine or trying to come off as appealing, because you just won't be. You know what I'm saying? You'll be very much like us against them, or the office there. Really not anybody, because we haven't designated them anything, in a position or anything. It's kind of dope. This White Knight straight up attacks. Definitely want to go for damage, just to end the battle quickly. Don't even worry about tanking. You know what I'm saying? End the battle as quick as possible. But you know, I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more. Not say anyone's names or trying to single them out, because it isn't about anyone's. It's not really anyone's singular action, or it's not their action, just one person. It's really everyone's kind of agreeance to that type of behavior and that type of system. You know, I'd rather have them get early on that I don't really want to be secretly creating this and creating that, and putting this together just so I can hold a higher opinion than people who might look at it. You know, most people don't care that much. Like, people may have gotten trolled, or think people care way more than they actually do that about them making, you know, art and content, that they don't really care. Like, it's not like they literally are waiting for you to make something so they can say it's bad. Alright? So that whole process of, like, just being in the dark office, us against them, that's not really gonna fly. Like, it's not, this isn't like a war. A war is different. You need to make sure your strategies and plans aren't known to the enemy, but this isn't a war, so there's no real reason to do that. If anything, you're making it harder in the long run. Like, in the beginning, you might have energy, and you might actually be genuine and still have that whole back office posse. But eventually, you'll be so far away from the people and so disconnected that you'll probably come off as more disingenuine and more of like a bad person. Alright? Like, hard work isn't a replacement for being a good person. And neither is an environment that is supposed to be about hard work. I could have swore I had, like, void damage. Yeah, Racing Strike. This is something else. Warpath. Warpath, spending increase and void. You deal increased void damage. This is right here. I'll probably go Echo Knight, but not right now. I won't go for Apocalypse Whirl. Not yet. It's not time yet to go for something that isn't physical, because I still do a lot of physical damage. More physical than void at this point. Yeah, I learned from playing this game on my other characters. I do have to make sacrifices when it comes to specialization. So, like, Warpath's gonna be simple, because I'll just go with the Void Tree, and everything else will come secondarily. The Void Tree isn't that expensive. You know, if I'm mana replenish. I guess I'll just use Warpath, because Warpath has basically infinite stands at this point. But, you know, I'm not going for, like, this artificial office or this actual office. Maybe that's what people's eventual goal is, to have that implemented on the side or whatever, but that's just not a good idea. It's not even to say that you should be the opposite and be, like, right amongst people and just let them decide everything. Just that having a disconnect either way isn't good, but no one's being a good person. They're being kind of an office person. That's just different, you know what I'm saying?
I can't wear this.
I guess we can go cold resistance. I don't need it. This actually is like a mace. Racing strike is like a mace thing. I don't even have a mace. Oh, never mind. It switches right here. Cooldown recovery. Okay, never mind. I saw it. Void Rift. Cooldown reduction. Let me get increased damage. Nope. That could be good for like grouping up enemies. Like if you run towards a bunch of mobs and you like flip backwards, like that could just kind of give them more time to bunch up if you want to go for that type of thing. But yeah, like I understand that your efforts can just kind of be in vain at some point, where it kind of it validates certain things. Like it might solidify and plant the seed for a certain thing, but it might never even come to fruition. Like it might not ever happen, right? Oh. Like let's say we were all making our own content. Like everyone started making content, and like you know, any part of that, more so like you know, like even managing, you know, that is part of it. And you know, everyone did it for their own reasons and for their own goals. But you know, once people kind of were able to work together or to have any connection because they both do the same thing, that's where it kind of was more about it being completely different, because what their goal was now was to kind of hold a position or have some type of relevancy that would come naturally from them being the only ones that stream or working on their own stuff and people having to watch it. You know what I'm saying, like you have to be kind of relevant to the watch. You have to be you have to have some type of you have to have some type of like ability to manage yourself and make something happen anyway. But you know, that's not the point of the actual. It's not the point. The work isn't the goal. You know, the point is to use like an office type of situation to just have that as like their society, like their way of life. You know what I'm saying? Like people that farm back in the day weren't really doing it for money. They were farmers. Much more than like someone doing it for money, you know what I'm saying, or doing it for like efficiency. It's like this is like the timeline. The timeline is people start streaming. You know, some people probably work with people or whatever. They have their buddies. And then it goes to office mode, and streaming eventually will take a backseat, and being like creative will take a backseat to just that. And only one thing you can do with that. It's not like I wouldn't have that anyway. You know, eventually I'd have that same thing. Eventually. You know what I'm saying? So like it'd be better just to work on, you know, your creativity and organization, all that, and it not be reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? Like just going like for you know, sacrificing that type of ability, like early ability. Like sometimes it's too early for you to have organization. You have more organization than anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need this much organization. And definitely kind of speaks to, like, someone who's a little more wise and knows that you can always get the tables and the tablecloths, but you have no one to cook the food. And at the end of the day, you need someone that can really cook some food, right? You can't always rely on the office, you know, or the logistics or the logic, because this isn't that type of place. This isn't that type of thing. So, like, you know, I would help people to the extent with the office, you know, that, and, you know, organization and trying to put something together as a team or a group. And I would help them to the point where it improved their stream and improved their connections to other people. It wasn't really about it feeding into the office or getting them something out of it, you know what I'm saying? That's really not what that stuff's for. So yeah, I definitely am willing to sacrifice early office for early creativity. You know, it's kind of like saying, well, you're kind of going backwards. Like, you could already have a group, but at the end of the day, you'll know in the future, or at least I know, that you'll have to sacrifice a more of the early anyway. Like, if you whatever you do the office in the beginning, because it won't really fit. It'll be too small otherwise for like something like that. Or like one can't exist without the other in this like environment, and you don't really need one of them. You don't need the office. Like, it isn't gonna really help you out, because people are just gonna use it for themselves, and not so they can paint pictures, so they can be the office, right? Like, that's just what it is. So, like, sacrificing early office for like more of like a grind, more of like kind of going dark, not really having anything like that, is good, because eventually you'll need that, right? Like, right now you have to sacrifice, or have to sacrifice the office. Like, I would recommend people kind of getting this, like, not trying to go full Hollywood when you don't have anything for Hollywood. I'm saying, like, you don't even have the demeanor, or you're not even put together for that type of stuff. Like, you should do what you can do currently, and then eventually you'll need that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, looking back, it'll always be beneficial, but it isn't gonna be good in the future. So, like, instead of me having that ability, because I know which direction it goes, I'm not saying things like out of nowhere and repeatedly as if I didn't say it already, you know what I'm saying? Like, not having an office type of situation is because in the future it'll hinder creativity and streaming and all that. And just knowing that alone can kind of be like, you know, a lot of people will jump to conclusions to have a good position in the battle. Like, that's not the point, you know what I'm saying? The point is, it's like for the sake of creativity, you know what I'm saying? And being in that mode, you know, not being in office mode and just having to kind of force yourself to put stuff out, but being in a mode to where you want to put certain things out. You know, it's kind of the point and the goal. Alright? Like, you'll eventually need office stuff. Like, I'm not gonna try to polarize or separate the two. Like, you need organization, you need people planning things. Right? Like, I could plan to go to a convention, like PAX or something, and bring a camera, and that'll give me tons of exposure, potentially meeting people who are into video games and streaming, right? And a lot of them will be in the real world, so that's like, you know, what's people's opinion on the real world connection to that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And like, planning that and having a camera, you know, and having editing, like, you need that. That's part of the creativity. That's part of the final product, more so. But at the beginning, where you don't have any plans of going anywhere or really any idea of what you're going to do, you don't need that office. It's just kind of like, it's a different direction entirely. I'm saying, like, these people could literally stop streaming and doing whatever they're doing and like start selling lemonade, and they'd be better off, because that's just where they're at with it. I'm saying, like, this isn't really selling lemonade. It's not like you can just create a product which is selling lemonade and continuously sell the same lemonade using the same recipe and the same machines to make it. You'd have to literally make something new pretty frequently. You know what I'm saying? It's totally different. You know what I'm saying? It's like what you're doing is making you better. Like, you can't make lemonade, sell lemonade, and it not be good. Like, it has to eventually have to stop doing other things to focus on selling lemonade, you know what I'm saying? So like this is different. Like one day I'll need Lemonade logistical master, but not really at the expense of the early days of streaming and trying to learn how to be creative and appealing and not just slog and be forced to come off a certain way because of the work I've already put in. Like you have to be willing to put in, I guess you can call it work every second, you know, every time you do something like it's new. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same as just being yourself. It's really trying to be able to deliver something from yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like being yourself is like an excuse because nothing really requires you to be yourself. You know what I'm saying? People want you to be a certain way. You don't have to be yourself. You can be how they want you to be, right? But you know, you say for the sake of yourself to be yourself, and for the sake of that, exactly. If it's for your sake, you shouldn't even be streaming or making anything because you're probably more conceited and care about yourself only, and you put your health in other people's faces, so they have to acknowledge the fact that you can do what you want to do or something. I don't know, right? You know, this isn't about being yourself or being true. This is like about being able to make some good, appealing stuff. You know what I'm saying, if that's like at the expense of people's philosophy and reasoning, then they have to not do it. You know what I'm saying, like I wanted to play baseball, but I had to show up to practice, and I had to be around people's, like as a kid, be around people's parents and being around like more positive environment. And I didn't want anything to do with it. I couldn't just say I want to be myself. I could be around people. Like you don't want to do what it takes. You don't want to have to put up with. You have to say it, the truth. The truth is you don't want to have to put up with being around people's parents and being good to be a baseball player. And the same for streaming. Like you don't want to have to put up with people having their opinions and doing what they want to do while you do what you have to do. You know what I'm saying, to like maintain some type of flow. You know what I'm saying, of streaming and creativity and all that. Like that's all it is. You know what I'm saying, it's completely different than what you say, what people say or would want it to be. The same people that would have issues with me saying how they should stream are the same people that would watch someone stream and not really do anything for it. You know what I'm saying, not even enjoy it. You know what I'm saying, just purposely not do anything because that's how they want to come off as, that's how they want to be. Like that's fine. Like there's ways to do that. Like you literally say that you're doing it for yourself. Like that's okay. You know what I'm saying, it's different. Like you can hang out with people and say, well, I don't really want to go and drink because that's not who I am. But if you literally bring a bottle to the party and you start whining about drinking, like you're just sacrificing other people's wants and plans for yourself, which is fine. It's completely different. You know what I'm saying, like streaming's like you came, or you know, making art or being involved in that type of process, is you came purposely to do that, and now you want to kind of whine about the requirements. Like just don't do it. You know what I'm saying, or you know, just admit that you're trying to take care of yourself or do what you want to do for yourself. It's not about the actual requirements. You know what I'm saying, it's like what you wouldn't do if those were the requirements. You know what I'm saying, like, well, if I had to show up and sell candy bars and raise money for the team, I wouldn't want to do that. So I'm not going to do it. Like, that's all people are basically saying. Like, I get it. Like, I don't want to do that either. You know what I'm saying, but if I really want to be a baseball player, right? I don't want to sell candy. I don't want to be around people's parents. I don't want to be a good person. If I really want to be a baseball player, I'm going to do it. If I really think I'm going to be a baseball player, I'm going to do what it takes. And I don't think people are willing to acknowledge that what they want personally or what they want to do with the group isn't what's good for creativity and good for them to do what needs to be done, right? Like if you want to be in the military, you can't hang out and drink and smoke because you'll just end up probably wasting a lot of your brain cells and potential where you can be more disciplined. You know what I'm saying, and not do that type of stuff because it's so easy to do it. You know what I'm saying, like you wouldn't go in a helicopter to go to Africa to steal some drugs, fly back and sneak away from your commanding officer to do drugs. That'd be too hard. People wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying, like military way, like they wouldn't be doing that. So there's just no point in the, like I get the difference between that type of stuff. Like I wouldn't do a lot of stuff because me personally, I wouldn't do it because it means I can't just sit around do nothing like how I want to be. Like I can't just be how I want to be. Like I'm not like the attraction anymore, right? I want to be. But sometimes there's something that you know you want to do regardless of what you might you might want to do all, like, if you just want to hang out and smoke weed, that's different than you wanting to be a singer. If you want to be a singer, it takes a little bit more discipline maker. We're talking about in the moments where you need to make a decision. Do you want to do something that may impact your lifestyle positively or negatively, right? Like, you want to be a wrestler. Like, you can't just be a wrestler one day. You have to literally train and get your body in shape. You have to be pretty big to be a wrestler, you know what I'm saying? You can do steroids, I guess, but that's not the same. Even doing steroids is like risking your life, risking your health to be a wrestler, you know what I'm saying? Which is pretty dangerous. Because everyone's on steroids, so like your body won't even be that, it won't even be that noticeable. Like, everyone's on steroids, so like it doesn't really matter. Like, it's just regular at some point. Like, I don't want to have the conversation with people where they're like kind of whining. Like, I get it, like, this is something you may have wanted to do, but you aren't willing to do what is required of you to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not willing to do your part. You're not willing to make your sacrifice. It's not about everything coming together and the stars aligning. You're not willing to hit that first rock with the pickaxe to start mining for like a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not willing to do that. That's fine. Like, just, you know, at least admit that, because that'll happen to you a lot. Like, I really wanted to be a YouTuber at one point, and I did it, but I just didn't really want to make money. I did it, and I made videos, and that was it. I have another channel with, you know, a little bit of views on it and stuff, and some videos on it, and I got that, you know, that's satisfied. Like, that was cool. And then I didn't do it because I was satisfied. And like, I had my friends stream with, or not stream, make videos with me and stuff, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? I edited them, I uploaded them, whatever. And that was that. You know what I'm saying? I was satisfied. And like, whatever it required me to sacrifice or to do to make videos, as opposed to just playing games or not having to edit. Like, it doesn't matter, because when I look back and I have those videos, it was worth it. That's what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what I wanted to make videos. And now again, you know, I feel like making videos, you know what I'm saying? I feel like doing a lot of things creatively. And I have to actually buy a camera, buy a webcam, buy a microphone, buy an audio interface. You know what I'm saying? I have to even buy a new equipment to play games on. I have to buy new games. So I can look back one day and say, at least I actually put in the effort and I sacrificed for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I even have little jokes I put together, and, you know, more in-depth type of, you know, more serious gaming videos. You know, it isn't just like the stars align and everyone watches me do what? If I don't make anything that I want to make, that I would want people to watch, there's no point of them watching it. If I really put on the news and it isn't even me, them watching it doesn't really have nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? It has to be that I make something, and at the same time, it's something people would watch. You know what I'm saying? Or something I would want to make. You know what I'm saying? And people really aren't willing to make that sacrifice, making what they want to make, and it's not about like a plan or analytics. There's really no point in doing it unless that's what you want to do specifically. Like, you want to teach people how to knit. Like, it isn't about you, it's about knitting. You know what I'm saying? That's different. Like, that's completely different, and, you know, all you would need is people to help you get the information and help you make the videos and help you get the information. Like, that's a little different. But, you know, there's really no sacrifice to be made when you're teaching people, right? Teach people enriches them instantly. It's necessary. It's a little bit higher on the food chain. If you just make creative videos, you can easily be met with dissatisfaction or just people not being content with anything. And that can be like a problem you have to deal with. Like, you could be the only picture on the wall people like, but it doesn't matter because they don't like any other picture, and this isn't enough. One picture isn't enough. Like, I'm okay with that because that's how it's been. That's how it's always been. That's how art and creativity works. Like, there's really not enough of it. There's not enough new music. There's not enough movies or shows to watch. But the ones that they have watched are great, and it's impacted them positively. It's not about it being this ultimate stars aligning ceremony where you get magic powers. That's a whole different thing. You know what I'm saying? In an office, you know, group of people who are very good at operating their office, but aren't really worried about creativity anymore, and maybe they never were. That's just a whole nother thing. That's office. That's literally the word office. That's the team. It's like really the show The Office, where everything takes place in the office, and they're like working. That's just how it is for them. That's how it be. Abyssal Echo. Right? Like, I definitely need an office, but I don't need to sacrifice something for the office. If anything, the office needs to sacrifice and get stuff done for everyone else's sake, you know what I'm saying? For the sake of, you know, the people that the office serves. Right. It's like if I'm in the streets, like I could really pick up on the Godfather and start kind of acting like some cartel member, and that would be like plans for the future, you know what I'm saying? I'm not about to do that. So I don't need to be in the streets. I don't take it seriously enough. I'm just here for a quick payday, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to be around someone who's willing to go to jail and pay for their homie's daughter to go to, like, camp or something when he's in jail. Like, I'm not doing that. Not that I wouldn't understand the level of loyalty. I'm not I'm not looking to set out on that journey, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be a wrestler. I don't want to spend my years wrestling and then get hurt, and that's part of the game. Like, I'm not doing that, you know what I'm saying? People literally have parallels to, you know, being like a streamer, but a lot of ways people can't treat wrestlers certain ways because they don't even, it's just not how that works, you know what I'm saying? There's different ways to get kicked out of the business and the circles and all that. It's not all the same thing. Everything isn't the same. If it was, then you'd have a successful career as a baby, and then when you grew up, you'd still be a baby or something, and you'd still do whatever you want. There's like more damage, just straight up more damage. Alright, so I think I'm done talking about The Office, because people kind of get where I'm going. I'm not trying to make it like black people versus like the establishment or nothing. The man, like, everyone needs organization. Black people need a calendar to know what's coming up. They don't need to just tear it off the wall because it's the man. Like, time wasn't invented by dictators, you know what I'm saying? Dictators cut through time, you know what I'm saying? It's different, right? Dictators conquer the world. Time isn't about conquering anything. It's not about that, you know what I'm saying? This isn't, so... Yeah, I'm done talking about that. You know, me dumping creativity out is irrelevant because it's all about technique. It's all about finished product. It's not about me dumping paint and spinning around throwing paint on the walls. It's once I'm done doing that dance of jumping around throwing paint everywhere that it actually is something people can interpret. Even if it's like a mess, people can interpret it. You don't need to interpret me getting the paint buckets ready. They know what that means. They know it's time to paint. What are you going to paint, right? Is it going to even be worth looking at the picture? So you paint the picture. Now people are like, you're able to interpret it or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like an alpha male. Alpha male is someone who has people who just believe in him. Like the big gorilla. People just believe in him, and just him moving his arms enough for them to potentially get excited. That's completely different. You want to be like Andrew Tate, who moves his arms, people go crazy. You may not even understand that he's like a giant gorilla, and people will end up taking him out to be the giant gorilla. Just for 5 minutes even. I don't know. That's some alpha male stuff. Like, if you want to get the paint buckets out, people go crazy, and then you don't paint, that's like alpha male behavior. Like, that's okay. You can do whatever you want. If you're dreaming to be the alpha male, that's probably more likely to happen than you being Picasso. You know what I'm saying? Like, you being 300 pounds of muscle is more likely than you being Picasso. You're not gonna be Picasso if you're gonna prefer to just pull paint buckets out. People go crazy. You're like a pop star or something. You know what I'm saying? Sensational. But yeah, enough about that. The Void Knight's pretty dope. I haven't really got too far with it, so I don't really know how the full Void Knight build would work. I know it would do a lot of damage. You know, just be me doing damage, not really anything other than void damage and echoes and stuff. And I feel like for a game like this that put the Sentinel in last place, because he's in last place, but it's definitely, in my opinion, the most fun class to play because it requires a little bit more effort than the other classes. And he's like a warrior, so he's already kind of used to being in that type of thing. I'm saying that's like perfect fantasy combo. It's pretty dope. I wish more games would take inspiration or like ask Vision to put these type of characters in the game. Insane. Like the Lich is a perfect example. Like that should be in other games because it was good in this game. But I feel like someone could make it a little better in other games.
Great battle.
You know, PoE got pushed back, beta got pushed back. I don't know how to get in the alpha. You know, I got my data back, so I'm kind of on the way to getting a power supply for my computer. And then once I get that, I'm gonna upgrade my graphics card to a 470, RTX 470. If you don't even know graphics cards, you probably should learn because once you learn, you'll know, and you'll never probably, you'll be in the loop basically when it comes to like tech stuff. Like you don't need to know that much about computer hardware when it comes to just like putting it together and what's good and what isn't. You need to know something so for the sake of the future. And you know, I'm gonna get an RTX 4070. There's basically entry level cards, which are would be like a 4060 or a 3060. RTX 3060, but that's like the old. The current generation is 40 series, 400 or 4000 series, 40, 60, 4070, and the 40, 60, 3060. Those are like the entry level cards that are the cheapest cards you can get, and these are NVIDIA cards, so they're more expensive. But they're better cards. They're just better. But I'm gonna get a new PSU power supply because, you know, I need more wattage to handle the card. And I plan on getting a 4070, which is the beginning of the higher end cards. It's like the mid-tier card, I guess you can call it. Graphics cards are pretty expensive. It's gonna be like 500 bucks, 600 bucks. But it's gonna allow me to run games on a high resolution. You know, recently people started having 4K and 4K and, you know, 1440p 2K, and I plan on basically playing games at 2K. I'm gonna get a 1440p monitor and start playing games at high resolution. Like right now I'm playing in 1080p. Videos on YouTube are 1080p. It's really hard to see something beyond 1080p because it's not that it's not that popular yet. Or it is popular, but it's not that cheap. And people don't have that kind of stuff. You need a graphics card to be able to run those games. Like you can get a console and run 4K. You know what I'm saying? And that's more likely we'll have a 4K experience. But I'm just gonna go for 2K because 4K is a little crazy. Like I don't think it's time for 4K. You know what I'm saying? I think it's 1440p is good for, like, you know, the games these days. Like you would notice 1440p. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna notice 4K. You know what I'm saying? Like 4K is a little too much. That's like futuristic type thinking, I think. Like I looked at a 4K and a 1440p. Like 1440p doesn't look as good as 4K, but I definitely didn't need 4K. You know what I'm saying? I don't need 4K. Like there's no one watching your YouTube video in 4K. Maybe like some type of, I don't know, it's probably possible, but I didn't see anything about 4K or 1440p. Like right now, my webcam's 1440p, and you can tell because it's wider. It's not like a box. It's like you know the resolution's higher. And it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna say the 14 of 1080p is over because that's what people can afford. People can afford like $1,000 computer or something, a little bit less, and they get their $100 monitor. You know what I'm saying, and that's it. They can play games at 1080p, which is fine. Like this is 1080p. Like right now, I'm playing games in 1080p, 60 frames. It's cool, but I definitely want to upgrade to 1440p because I already want to play games at higher settings. And there's kind of a limit to what you can gain from playing in 1080p at higher settings. Right? You know what I'm saying? But high resolution is the ultimate upgrade. Once you're playing games all the time at high resolution, you're just gonna have higher quality anyway. And a 4070 graphics card is good enough to run games on pretty high settings. You know what I'm saying? 4K just be like, you know, grab a 4090, grab like an i9 Intel processor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing that. That's like $1,000 graphics card. And that's like at least almost another $1,000 in other computer parts. That's like a $2,000 computer. And then the monitor for 4K is going to cost like $300. So that's like pretty expensive. Like, I'm sure after all the upgrades I put in my computer, I would have spent that much, but I'm not spending that type of money currently. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would. I'm not someone that would play computer games and think that it's a cheap way of playing games. It's the most expensive way to play games. But it's also the best way to play games because you can always upgrade your computer and play old games. Like, you can't upgrade your console. Like, when you upgrade your console and get a new one, you can't play the old games. It's not easy to do that. It's very inaccessible and hard. But you can always play some old computer games. And I would definitely recommend people looking into computer parts, learning about Intel, learning about AMD, Radeon. Not in Radeon, but, you know, the AMD graphics cards, the NVIDIA graphics cards. You know, Intel actually made their own graphics card. It's like they're kind of getting into that, that whole world, graphics cards, using like processors. And NVIDIA is making they're gonna start making processors, gaming processors, I think. Yeah. You know, you have PSUs, power supplies, which are like what allow your computer to have power, and, you know, they're like a certain wattage. That they can handle the components that require a certain amount of wattage, power-hungry components. You have your CPU, your central processor unit, that does something. It's the computer, basically, I guess, right? You have the motherboard, you have the graphics card, you have the RAM, you have, you know, these days you have an SSD, solid-state drive. Back in the day you had hard drive. People still have hard drives, but I'd recommend just going for a solid-state drive. They're much quicker, allow your computer to run faster. You have your monitor, you have your keyboard, you have your mouse. If you learn just that, and you learn the manufacturers, it's not that much. Like, eventually you'll get it. You learn all that stuff, you'll have a lot more knowledge at your disposal, to where you'll need to learn more, and you'll want to learn more. Like, you know, I learned about graphics cards and how to make your game look better because you need one, and then I was like, well, you need a certain CPU so you don't bottleneck, and the CPU also helps your game run better, and it helps you edit videos and all that. So then I learned about CPUs. And then you learn about motherboards, because motherboards have certain pins that go with certain CPUs, you know what I'm saying? So there's tons of computer information. And, you know, people should learn about that type of stuff because in the future computers are probably going to be a lot more prevalent than other things. Be more computers than like pieces of paper and stuff like that. You definitely don't want to be someone who doesn't understand technology that everyone's using, not like on some old person, like, yeah, like, we get it. You definitely, like, everyone understands pen and paper, like, that's old school, like, we get it. That's not gonna go over anyone's head. You definitely want to learn the technologies so you can benefit from them and not be confused by them. If you're someone in your generation who can stick to computers and stick to what people these days, you know, are going with, like, you should do it. Don't try to be like a cool kid who smokes cigarettes and knows what old people do. Just learn computers, you know what I'm saying? Enough for you to use them and be satisfied, or enough for someone else to use you and pay you, or enough for you to teach someone, you know what I'm saying? And it's rewarding, you know, if you build your own computer, or you switch your parts out, or you know what's what, and you can tell your friends what's what, or you just know what's what, it's rewarding, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. Well, that's enough about computers, because I'm not going to try to tell everyone the quick facts. I know that it's just like, I don't know anything about computers in the grand scheme of things. But like, it's possible. It's not impossible to know everything about computers. Or like, enough to be considered a master of computers. Computers! Computer. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about working out now, because that's what I'm starting to work out again. Like, I've had errors while I worked out, and usually the issue is accountability and people taking the group that we work out in, and kind of expecting everyone to contribute to accountability and blending it all down into the group's accountability. Like, that's not happening. That's not how groups work. So like, that's the usual mistake that comes with you know, working out in a group, or having working out in general, because you're definitely not just going to be like some shut-in who works out. You're going to definitely impact other people with your gains and muscles. You know, my advice is, if you're going to work out in a group or work out alone, working in a group's always better, because people will surpass you in some ways, and that'll push you and let you see what you really should be doing, because you might not even be trying or doing it at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was working out, when I first started working out, people that I was working out with played sports. Like, they were way ahead of me. I understood that there was an actual goal you could reach, where like you could actually be like 2 times better at almost everything, and have time and be around more positive stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, just working out lets you see what the goal can be. Like, not even like, even if it's like you have to work out for like years to achieve this, like, at least it's something like people could see. Let's avoid cleave. So, like, I know, back the day I did my research, you know, this is like my personal workout journey, not group experience or group gains. Like, that's just something that you have to experience for yourself to really understand what I'm talking about. Like, once you have an actual group to work out in, and you've actually broken a sweat and got sore, you realize how, like, it was just this ultimate machine of progress. Like, it's like man behavior. It's just something I'm not built for when it comes to mixing in entertainment and enjoyment. It just isn't the same, you know, trying to recreate that. You have to make a whole new group and a whole new goal and all that. But, you know, my personal experience is I did my research and I got a kettlebell, because that allows you a lot of exercises, and it isn't in the way of like everyday life. Like having like a bench press and some squat machine, you know, that's like kind of inconvenient for a lot of other people. That takes up like an entire room. Someone can like fall and die on these type of weights. They're not safe for other people to be around. And, you know, I got a kettlebell, and, you know, I still have that kettlebell, so I start working out again on and off. But now I'm probably just gonna work out every day. Not to the extent to where I'm lifting weights every day, but I'm at least stretching every day. Lifting weights every day isn't safe, because you probably aren't getting to the point where you're getting sore. Like, you're not working out like how you should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's safe to just work out every day, because whatever, I don't know, like, you know, like, people like would say, well, it's okay, I work out every day. It's not a good idea. It's even better to test yourself and not lift weights every day, because you might lift weights one day, and then will you lift weights the next day? You know what I'm saying? Will you go back? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the god of physiology and all that. I don't know But I know lifting weights every day is not safe. You'll end up making certain muscle groups inactive. Like you'll have soreness about your body, and you'll end up not using those muscles to lift weights, and you won't use them anymore. You'll stop using like a lot of your body. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll actually shut down more of your body than activate it by doing that. People say, well, no, you just do the workouts that target those parts of your body. But really what happens is once you start lifting weights, you start to activate more of your body, and you start to actively use it more consciously because you have big muscles now. And going to the gym every day and lifting weights makes you move past pain, which usually when you have an injury, you don't use that leg or you don't put weight on it. And you just don't, you just mess yourself up in the long run. You're like, your body's barely in use, but you're huge. You know what I'm saying? Like you barely use your body. Like I understand that. Like you don't really use your body like that anymore. So what I would recommend is lift weights. You know, the first day, stretch, you know, maybe run. Running is not that important because it kind of is more of the deactivation part, where you deactivate a lot of yourself to run and have endurance, and it's more of a maintenance type of exercise. If you want to get to a higher level, stack your head on top, like kind of become the godhead, you run, but running isn't integral to having a good body. It's really about getting your heart rate up and, you know, pushing the boundaries. Running might not really work like that for everyone. If it's hot outside, maybe, but then it's really like lifting weights. You know what I'm saying? Once it's hot and you have that humidity on you and you're pushing against stuff that isn't really there. You know what I'm saying? But my recommendation is stretch every day. If you're gonna work out, stretch every day. Because stretching isn't gonna hurt you if you stretch every day. It's gonna make you better. And stretching is, you know, this is my advice. I'm not gonna say anything that goes against like a doctor saying don't jump on your broken arms. I'm not gonna do that. Stretch every day. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't stretch every day, at least think about stretching every day. Because stretching allows you to, you know, start stretching, you know, you're bending your arms and your legs and all that. It allows you to put your body in a state where it won't get injured from doing activities because it's more flexible. But also allows you to not use your body because the flexibility becomes armor. And the flexibility becomes your defense. You're flexible, you stretched, you're not going to get hurt. And with that in mind, stretching allows you to shut your body down. You know what I'm saying? It allows you to not be conscious of every move you make because you know that you stretch every day, you take care of your body. It allows you to shut it down. Instead of working out every day and that kind of getting you injured, or you're doing it just to get stronger, you don't need to be stronger because you've already lived your life without being stronger. Like you can wait to get stronger. First know your body and know how it feels for your body to get stronger and for your body to improve. If you don't know that, then you don't need to be working out. If you don't plan on knowing that information, you don't need to work out. And, you know, instead of using weightlifting on days you shouldn't be lifting weights, like you shouldn't lift weights on days you feel too sore, or days you feel sleepy, like days your head's down, you're sleepy, you just need to not work. You need to go to sleep. You need to use your body and soreness and put it together and go to sleep. Eat a big meal, take your sore body and go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Go to sleep. You sleep most of your life anyway, go to sleep. Certain parts of your life are going to continue on. You're still going to sleep. You're still going to eat. Alright? So stretch every day. Alright? Even if that means banging down tire shoes, just stretch. And once you stretch every day, and you start to get more into the stretchy philosophy and not the muscle brain philosophy, you're ready to lift weights. Because lifting weights isn't about having muscles, it's about getting muscles. Right? Lifting weights isn't about having anything. It's about doing what it takes to get something. You know what I'm saying? So stretch every day. And instead of lifting weights every day, stretch every day. Right? Get a calendar, get a notepad to write your formula and stretch. The first workout should be stretch. Not because that's what my gym teacher told me, but because if you don't stretch, you'll get hurt. If you don't stretch, you won't be able to shut your body down. You won't be able to let your body be You can't just be a muscle person with no stretching ability, because it won't help you in any way. People will really look down on your muscles because they just don't serve any purpose. They aren't stretchy. The people that just do push-ups and have muscles, they don't stretch enough. And push-ups literally are like, you can't do certain push-ups because it'll make your arm pop, your elbow pop, and you're not stretching enough. You know what I'm saying? You're not stretching enough. You shouldn't even get on the ground and do push-ups if you aren't stretching first anyway, so.
Stand down
No
or die.
stretching. So once you're stretching and you basically are going to listen to me at least a little bit and stretch before you do anything. Then once you stretch, begin to work on your core. You know what I'm saying? Because your core, it's really hard for you to injure yourself doing sit-ups, work on your core. It's almost impossible. Your core never really is injured. It's always inactive. It's always needs to be activated. It always needs to be built up. So stretching and core is your first priority. If you don't have a good core and you don't stretch, having big lobster claws on your arms doesn't really matter. You'll end up sitting around hunched over, or you'll end up not having your body, your core kind of permeate out into the rest of your body, where you don't need big muscles. You need to go sit down somewhere. So definitely stretch, core. You know, this is good for people who want to lose weight and want to be in shape, because having big arms isn't being in shape. Having big arms is having big arms. Big arms is kind of, that's been done. Stretch, core, this is the order you should do it in. Stretch, core, and then while you're working on your core, squats. And this is my sage wisdom. Don't even lift weights for your arms. Do everything for your flexibility, stretching, your core, and squats for like your legs, and because your legs are going to be fine. If you're not going to get, well, you could get hurt squatting, but it's more unlikely because you're not going to have like such a big ego about squatting and all that anyway. You know what I'm saying, it's not squatting like just, you know, bending down, squatting, stretch. You can get into doing anything, but it's more if you sweat, if you work on your core and you stretch first, you reduce the risk of you getting hurt. You're more likely to get hurt if you don't work out. You know what I'm saying, like you're more likely to hurt yourself or not be able to do something if you don't work out. So stretch, core, squatting. I haven't even gotten to the weightlifting yet because that's not relevant. If you haven't reached a certain level of squatting, stretching, and your core, it doesn't matter because you don't need lifting weights. You're here prematurely. So once you're able to kind of have a philosophy, your own philosophy that you've gained from stretching, squatting, and doing core, your arms are always like, you don't need to be arm ego man. That's not good for you. Like trust me, you'll feel better having a six-pack. You'll feel better having legs. You don't want arms. Arms are something that you look at. It's just temporary pleasure. You don't want arms. Arms are something you'd use as weapons against people. You don't want weapons. You want actual fitness. You want your body to feel good. You don't want to feel like a marauder with big arms. Your arms are just like veins anyway. You know what I'm saying? Tendons and stuff. It's not, your arms aren't made of beef. Your arms are like long, lanky things that don't support your body in any way. You don't need arms. Once you've kind of reached a certain point where like you feel the burn, where you're getting sore off of just squatting and doing core, because those are the lines you need to cross. You need to cross lines with squatting and your core, because arm lines don't exist. You know what I'm saying, there's no definitive arm line. Like you might be able to pick up like a big jar for someone, but that's not that important. So once you've reached the point where you are stretching every day and you are doing core work, you know, every couple of days, whenever you feel good to do it and you aren't going to get hurt, and you're doing squats every couple of days when you aren't going to get hurt, once you're willing to build muscle through core and squatting and doing your stretches, then you can go into the vain, desolate plane of lifting weights. Because it never ends well for people who don't have a philosophy anyway. You know what I'm saying? Lifting weights isn't people who don't plan on lifting weights for themselves. You know what I'm saying? If you plan on doing it because it's cool or whatever, like it's cool.
Will be up to you.
But you know, it's not gonna be what you want to do. It's not gonna build you internally until you have something like a philosophy or why you work out. Why do you work out? I'm saying. So for me, I make sure to do squats with my kettlebells. You know what I'm saying? I don't just lift weights. I don't just lift them for my arms. I do squats. I make sure I do squats until I feel some tension, until I know that there's some electricity going on, right? And I haven't really been working my core, but I should be. You know what I'm saying? Like your arms will get smaller anyway. You know what I'm saying? You'll work out, your arms will get small pretty quickly. But once you have to walk around and you've been working on your core and your legs, that'll always benefit you in your day-to-day life.
Yes. Stay safe.
Right? Especially in modern day life where a lot of things are more convenient, you're going to want the ability to have a good core and good legs. You're going to want to be someone who doesn't have big arms but has like a collared shirt on. Like that's, you want your legs to pop out, you want your six pack, you want your core to be activated. Activate core.
What do you want?
I've been streaming for about an hour. I'm probably going to stream a little bit more. But I feel like progress-wise, I've made it 5 levels, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, this and that, and the third. But trust me, working out's going to be something you look back on, and you're going to be glad that you did. Even if you didn't get all of the muscles or all the endurance, just the fact that you could have got it, you look back like, that's what I could have got out of that. You know, you'll be glad you did. You know, people that are like overweight and attribute that to everything usually don't. People that are like overweight and people the doctor says if you don't lose weight you'll die. They don't usually in their day-to-day life attribute their weight to their problems. It's really like their solution. Like they literally live based on solutions. You know what I'm saying? Those are different people. You know what I'm saying? People that need to exercise to like a certain point where they could like live a better life. Those people are like more strategic, probably. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't put people in the same class someone who lives in another life. You know what I'm saying? People that are like criminals and like sophisticated, like those aren't the people you need to be around because you aren't like that and you wouldn't use that wisdom and you wouldn't live that life. You don't need to be in the same class as them. People that are like 800 pounds and have reached that level, those people are a little different. If you're like 300 pounds or 200 pounds and you don't really think of your life in terms of life or death, you don't work out, like you're not in that need of working out, right? If anything, you need to be that heavy because you don't want to be older and not be heavy because you'll be so light and small, like it'll be detrimental. It'll be like an ice cube. Like you want to have that weight for your joints and all that because your joints need to work with something, right? They need something to work with. Maybe like a crab. A crab has joints, but really no like muscles to pull them and stuff. Like those are separate things for crabs. Like having like armor shell that moves around is different than a person that has muscles and weight attached to like their pulley system, their hands moving and stuff. It's like not having hands. It's like being amputee, not having any weight. It's not good. Like a baby not being heavy isn't good because it's skinny. Like it's not good. You weren't born skinny. You were born a fat baby. So your body must have some use for fat baby mode. Every baby's born with some chunk to it, so that's part of the system, right? Like animals aren't chunky.
Stand down.
They're like big, and they like are broad and long and awkward. Like they're not worried about getting their head chopped off because their neck's too long. That's just how animals work. Your dog isn't chunky. You know what I'm saying? Your dog probably isn't fat. A dog doesn't sit around because it's fat. It just sits around because it's a dog. You know, don't worry about having fat. Fat's normal. Babies are born fat. all they had in the womb was like no food and they're still fat. You know what I'm saying? Then they drink milk from a person. Fat has a purpose. People who are fat probably have ruined being fat because that's what people do. They ruin things. They sit at the gate and the gatekeep and they ruin it. But there's a purpose. It doesn't serve zero purpose. It isn't literally useless blab. It serves a purpose. If the baby was born with eyeballs, they probably serve a purpose. Right? If the baby was born from a woman and the woman can feed them, there's probably some type of purpose there. It isn't for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So working out shouldn't be to eliminate your current posture and size and status because that was who you were. Like if you were fat, you were fat. Like if that was your whole thing, you were doing that for a reason. People that usually go from being fat and going to the gym usually lose their identity. And they don't have as much personality in life anymore because that was their life. You know what I'm saying? So there's always that other end to it. You know what I'm saying? Where like you might hurt yourself trying to get skinny. Nothing is skinny. Skinny stuff usually is close to dying. Like a skinny animal's gonna die. There's nothing good about being skinny. I'm grabbing these boots for movement speed, know that? I don't really need the armor or the affixes. I'm good. It's a benefit to playing Sentinel, you get some pretty heavy armor, so you can kind of hold out on some gear upgrades for the affixes and stuff they add. There should be more legendary drops, because I've seen some pretty dope legendaries that I haven't been able to get my hands on. Void Knight's the perfect class to explain specialization combinations. Why you use your specialization upgrades for combos. I'm about to show you. Let me just get this guy out of here. Let's say you had, you know, the echoes are cool. That's not really the point right now. Where is it at? Oh, I think it's over here. Right here. Right here in Warpath. I'll end up casting Abyssal Echoes. Casting Abyssal Echoes means I'll literally cast this, my W, the same Abyssal Echoes that come from that. You know what I'm saying? So, this is like what the Void Knight brings to the table, combos. So then I'll be able to upgrade Void or Abyssal Echoes. This is what this specific mastery allows you to do, more so than other masteries. Combo abilities together and void damage. I'll be able to upgrade this. And I'll have void rifts from all of these. I'll have I have void rifts. I have echoes. You know what I'm saying? And like that would be the goal. You know, time rot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the void beam. See this pairs with Racing Strike. Time rot. Whatever, you know, working out, you gotta stretch. If people aren't gonna stretch, I'm not gonna help them work out because that's not what I want to happen. Like, I don't want people thinking about muscles or power. Like, that's kind of dangerous. I don't want to make dangerous people. People become dangerous pretty quickly. And, like, that's it. Like, you have, like, berserker savages, and you have people that get dangerous. It's like the same people, basically. I want nothing to do with that, buddy. I don't want to be someone who's so above the clouds that it only takes responsibility for the people they need. What? Oh. I'm starting to get hungry. I'm gonna get out of here pretty soon. Not really much going on these days. I'm just waiting for PoE 2 to come out. I feel like it's the same problem people would have with like starting out with any like type of art thing. It actually costs mana to cast that many void cleaves or bracing strikes. You know, I try to think of stuff to do, but I feel like a lot of it, once it gets levered, gets bunched together. And come up with ideas after, you know, some of them should have already worked. You know, there's like an artificial aspect or factor that's causing a lot of this type of stuff to happen. Like instead of it being it rain day, it's because someone made it rain. Like more of an artificial thing. I feel like people have probably taken such a stance against things, and only things that would still be around are things like nature, like someone naturally not liking it, but not like artificially. Someone probably wouldn't let robot and keep saying no against them, right? Like I said, I wanted to make a video about cats, and people were like, they're artificially impacted. Like I wouldn't naturally have any solution. Like I have this basically natural target dummy that doesn't really fight back. There's no point. It's not the point. It's like a computer attack. And I'll just be like, so many people wouldn't, and people like already agreed to computer attack. Like they're in computer mode. So it's kind of the same issue you'd face if it was like a natural issue. Like if somebody threw like a rock at your window, it's like, that's like regular natural stuff. It's like someone threw a rock at your computer, but they threw a computer at it. It's like, how would you respond naturally? You'd really be like, right to rock, don't throw rock to window, get your window fixed. You know, in this case, it's like someone threw like a bunch of computer nonsense at me. A bunch of logic. So like I would just have to make the video over again or something, right? Like I'd have to like fix it, re-upload the video. So you know, the difference is if someone throws a rock on the computer, the internet, you don't have to really go to the hospital. So you'd have to really decide, does it affect you, and does it affect you in reality? Is like actually your window's broken? Because we have stuff like ego and pride, because it allows something to be damaged that isn't your window or your computer. It's like, what would my solution be to getting my computer window broken? I'd probably tell people that it happened and that my ego has been bruised, so I can move on. I'd be grateful that it wasn't an actual rock in my actual window. Grateful. So then it'd prepare me to deal with physical threats like someone throwing a rocket window, or someone like throwing a rock at my computer or my ego. And like it could always be that the boiling up of the computer and ego can get someone to go do some crazy things in their life. So that's not good. I need more mana now. Is there a way to get for me to get more attunement, more mana? This is kind of the drawback of playing as a sentinel right here. Okay. Actually get mana when you use Rive, Vengeance, Smite, or Multi-Strike. I don't even have any of those equipped. There's no way for me to get more mana. I have to like build that into my I'd have to like build that on my gear. Right here. This is not gonna be for a long time. Future Mine, it's not gonna happen. Then you have Void Well, Void Essence and stuff. That's a little different. So I'd have to probably build it into Void or Racing Strike. And it consumes more mana. Anyway. Looks like it can cost more mana. Yeah, it's not happening. I'm just gonna have to not have mana. Just how it is. I'd really only have enough mana for like maybe 2 attacks. If that Racing Strike procs another attack, I probably have to go back and erase that. I can't afford it. I can't afford Time Loop. It's just not gonna happen. It was kind of strange to hit anyway because the echoes take a long time to appear. On top of that, they don't move. Having a giant void or Racing Strike like a big area of effect, that's gonna be great to have with an echo. It'll actually work. Apparently, Devouring Orb can give me some mana. So that could be pretty good to get. We'll see. I haven't really got to the point of getting Devouring Orb. Or even got level 35 to get into specialization. I'll probably go to Devouring Orb. I think that's some utility. I just wish that the void clone, whatever it's called, went a little quicker, procced quicker, just appeared faster. This class is pretty devastating with that. All passive. I think last Epoch has a better leveling system though than Diablo, and PoE levels in PoE don't really matter. Oh, they do, but they're not that impactful. It takes a long time to get anything out of it. But I feel like last Epoch, its skill trees have a pretty good concept where you get abilities as you level up. And like, they timed everything. It's not like, you know, it's not like one thing, or, you know, there's a couple options, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to see a build, and like, once you get to like level 50 and all that, it's still easy to level up, you know what I'm saying? It's not like a slog. Like, you can always be getting stronger, always be getting more utility. You can always look for what you need. It's just like it's a better leveling experience. Mm-hmm. Leveling experience is more enjoyable, and it's much easier to see what you're gonna get. Once you get like level 50, you've already built your character in Diablo. You're just trying to get benefits from Paragon, which can make or break a build. But like for 50 levels, not getting anything like any plans except for like Paragon board, like it's kind of not fun. In PoE, like leveling is fine. It's just not as fun as last Epoch, or like as easy to see. Like PoE can be so confusing or hard to know if you'll be ready by a certain point. Know if you're building viable. Like you'll know you'll be fine. And the last Epoch, you can just respec, you know what I'm saying? It has the best leveling experience. It's fun. You get stronger, you can see it, you know what I'm saying? Every level, every couple levels you're getting, there's a big difference, you know what I'm saying? We're getting the attention you feel you need. I feel like Dragon's Dogma 2 came out and had the effect I knew it would have. Like, Dragon Dog was once pretty legendary. I don't know if people like, are big streamers these days, are big on Dragon Dogma 1. I don't know if they know anything about that. But I feel like if you knew what was coming, then you would have probably got out of the way and not made yourself the big Dragon Dogma dude. It's like a truck. It's pretty legendary. You know what I'm saying? It's like everyone's like a chicken and you get chased around. That's how you should be running, basically, you know what I'm saying. Like no one's gonna have anything to do. Whoever's chasing them, they turn around. Getting like ran over by it. Dragon's Dogma would probably be pretty exhausting. It does take a long time for the Sinnoh to get strong enough to just run through the content like everybody else, but it's definitely it's the funnest class. I really saw a recent post on the dev showing kind of the stats. You know, some games drop stats, the drop stats like who died, deadliest bosses. You know, the Loon was the deadliest boss by far. Everyone would probably agree it was like the hardest boss. And then Sentinel and Primalist were at the bottom of the list, like they always are, for like played classes. Like, you could already have got the information just from the community, which is pretty interesting. And then, like, you know, talking about working out, when it comes to protein and all that, if you don't realistically see yourself eating something most of the time that you would associate with protein, I guess like meat. If you see yourself eating meat every day and all that, you probably shouldn't be doing protein. Shouldn't make your stomach go in a different direction as what you normally do. If you're not willing to make a lifestyle change, it's not really a lifestyle change, it's more like a sacrifice, or to make it like hurt other parts of your life. You still need to have fun. Being boring and uninterested in life isn't good. So like, you know, I'd recommend eating a lot more vegetables if you could. You know what I'm saying? Don't just go like protein muscle man. You know what I'm saying? Eat bananas, you know, potassium, all that. Eat smooth, you know, do smoothies if you have to. Maybe eat chicken. Chicken's a nice, good meat. I think everyone enjoys more so than like beef and stuff. Like beef's kind of heavy. Associate eating protein with eating food, because you can't just eat protein. You have to eat food. It's like I usually eat, or I used to like always have like a superfood green blend, which is like a bunch of different, you know, vegetables and stuff in a green powder, and I would, you know, mix up some orange juice. And you know, that's a nice thing to get. You know, you need your vitamins, minerals. You know, you need that for your body to survive and to thrive, but you also need it to build, do working out and stuff. You know what I'm saying, if you eat a lot and you work out a lot, it'll work out. You know what I'm saying. You know, even like pairing working out with a choice you're gonna make in your life, like you're gonna start gardening, it's good. You don't want to just be uninterested or be uninteresting because you start working out, or like make stuff that you be interested in through. You know, definitely learn from what you're already doing because you're doing it for a reason. If you're like eating Doritos and drinking Mountain Dew, maybe because you like it, and maybe you could find a way to implement that into a more positive thing, like working out or eating vegetables. Alright, like if you like Mountain Dew, you can drink smoothies, you know what I'm saying? You like Doritos, you can like make some tortillas or something and, you know, make some type of tortilla food. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to make sacrifices, you want to make improvements. You want to add to life, you don't want to take away from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you like being a degenerate. Find a way to be a degenerate self-improvement person. Or just be like, filter fish, filter feeding, keep breathing air.
What do you want?
I'm gonna get up out of here. I've been shooting for almost 2 hours. I'm getting hungry and sleepy. I'm probably just gonna be playing Void Knight for the next couple of days because I'm back on it. And I'll probably be playing Dragon's Dogma 2 for a little bit. That game just has a lot of running around, and I haven't gotten to the point where I have enough stamina. I'm not like a high enough level to really just go all in because it's hard to operate still. Looting, you know, inventory management, I need to be able to carry more. You know, the combat's fun, but having to deal with stamina and inventory and running around, that's just not, it's just not there yet. It's not smooth yet. We level up. Maybe like playing a warrior or something would have benefited me playing in the beginning if that is an advantage to that. You know what I'm saying? Carrying stuff and all that. Leveling up, getting more points into that stuff. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll be back in like, it's almost 4 now. I'll probably be back like 6 or probably like 9 or 8 or something. Around that time, nighttime basically. Yep.